So yeah, we'll start streaming and let me send you the links. So here it is in our Zoom chat, and also I'm sending it to our group.
There we go. Hey, everybody. Joel here. Um, we are going to have a pretty incredible show today. So, if you've been here before, we're going to repeat some things, but we're going to repeat them with some pretty mind-blowing information. So, um, everything that we've been talking about and that I've been working on about this online democracy thing, it's already being done and it's already evolved to a much higher, more elevated situation than we thought. Um, so, Deborah, when you shared that, have you had there were the two politicians that you know that are running for office. Have
Right.
any of them commented to you at all yet on any of this stuff? Or
No,
have
no.
do you know if they've seen it or any of that?
I know that Lev Parnas saw it. I did see that he received it and he commented, well, thank you, but Rachel did not respond. And there were a couple of other politicians I sent it to as well, because I mentioned, along with the link to IOD nations, that it would help them, reach out to individuals and that they would be able to form their own IOD nation of supporters, that
Hey,
it would be
Dennis.
a great way, to help the campaign. But nobody's really gotten back to me, and I don't expect them to because they don't
Well,
do it.
they've
They
got a
need their
lot
staff,
going on.
right? Well, and
Yeah.
staff is real. Plus, half of them they're in primaries, so I don't know how involved they'd want to get until they know whether they're actually the candidate or not. But this would help them if they would understand exactly what it is. It would help them win the primary as well. So
That,
I'm hoping they listen.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the so do you know when Lev saw it and commented on it, was it the part that's associated with Taiwan and that most recent post, or was it
No,
something prior to that?
it was prior. It was the women victims. Well, I think oh, I don't know who wrote that article. I don't know if it was you or
It
Ashraf.
was a combination of Rakesh and I, depending on
Okay,
which one.
okay, the one where you were empowering the victims of Epstein and Trump. So that one is the one that attracted Lev. I think because it's also been an issue with him, and the whole thing with Epstein
Okay.
goes all the way. It involves Ukraine. It has so many tentacles. I mean, it's overreaching. It's into every area: social, economic,
We
political.
we simply have no idea how far it goes, right? I
Right,
mean,
right.
it it
Yeah. We're not just
I,
helping the survivors. We're doing a lot more by looking into it because it really does go global. It's a global entity that is destroying the moral fabric of the world.
I mean, imagine being a parent in another country and the United States won't release a list of the names of the most prominent pedophiles and child sex traffickers
Right,
in the world, right?
right.
And we're
That's right.
hiding that. We're preventing other parents and other governments and other legal systems from
Yeah,
actually being able to pursue this. The United States is
right.
is in essence defending and propping up child sex trafficking and pedophiles
That's right.
across the whole world.
Right. And they've been covering it
And
up now. So the time that they've covered it up it's been over 20 years of cover up. So
yeah,
it's a big issue that
it
nobody wants to
is. Hey, so Dennis, Anne, Penelope, um, we're gonna we're gonna pull this discussion in a little bit deeper. I feel like Anne and Dennis have been here before. Am I correct about that, guys? If you want to respond, if you have, this show is going to blow your mind. We're going to share some stuff with you. Um, Draco, do you have those couple of links that I shared with you ready to pull up when we need to?
Yep, I have those.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna, so just so you guys know, when we start the show, Rakesh works for us in the background, and he's putting this out into Substack and into socials. And typically, hey, Mark, how are you? Typically, we like to wait until we get up in 30 to 40 people in the chat. Right now, we're at 19. If anybody has a question or would like to participate, you're welcome to jump in. If you don't know, we are iodnations.org. That's International Online Democratic Nations.org. We're not going to be like any of the other live chats that you come into, okay? We're here to talk about online citizen-led democracy. How do we get as many pro-democracy citizens as possible to unite online and start flexing their muscles? Because when they do that, change is going to happen in ways that you just can't imagine. We're doing it now prior to the No Kings March, and as a part of what is typically called Women's History Month, we call it Make Women's History Month. And as we move this show forward, we're going to do that with all of the history, weeks or months. We've got to shift this mindset of us as observers from the outside looking in, and we've got to shift it to where we're participants inside. If any of the women in history that people are looking back at and recognizing, like the suffragette movement, right, or whoever it is, I'm not great at women's history. I'm not great at a whole bunch of history and stuff like that, but I believe that any of those women in history, hey, Barbara, if they were here today, they would be asking us not to go back and look at what they accomplished, right? They would be asking us, what are the next steps? What are you guys doing now? What's the history that your generation is going to make? And that's what we're here to do. Each of us who is here, we've been born at a time in history where the internet is dominating the world, and it's damaging freedom and democracy across the world. And we have this opportunity to unite online and reverse that trend, right? We'll show you some stuff. We'll show you how Taiwan is already doing this. This is the part that is, I'm just blown away after all the time I've been working on this. I cannot believe how ignorant I've been about the progress that's happened so far. So Vic, Lola, Cheers, Catherine, Brian, Barbara, we're gonna pull you in here, and we're gonna try and uh, invite you to be a part of our communications. okay, and how we can try and move this forward. And we're we're not progressing as quickly as I would like. And then I've got Ashfaq, who you see on the screen, who's been working with me on this for years and years. Draco is behind the scenes. He's AOP, our Agent of Peace. And we're just here working as a team, and we're here to make ourselves available to you. It's really a collaborative effort. So I'm up to 25 people. Um, we're gonna keep chatting for a little bit. Ashfaq, anything you want to throw in?
Not really. Just if anybody wants to join this live conversation, I've dropped the link in the feed chat, and also if you have problem, like getting the link to open, you can drop your email address so that I can invite you through your email. So go ahead, Joel.
Deborah, just give us a brief synopsis while we're waiting for a few more people to come in. Tell us a little bit about your career and what brought you here. Would you?
Okay, sure. I was an assemblywoman elected in 1994. I served until 2000, ran as a Republican, and won, along with George Pataki in New York State. Yeah, served 6 years, switched midterm from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party because I felt the Republicans were too far to the right. They were letting Jerry Falwell, the church, get a little bit too involved. I like the separation of church and state. So I switched. And I did win all of my elections. In 2000, I was asked to run for Congress, and I declined because I would have been put in another primary situation because the sitting congressman, who was a Republican, switched parties that year and became a Democrat. So I didn't want to do a primary against him because I knew that Dick Gephardt and all of the Democrats were going to support the sitting congressman, and they would just make my life hell. So I didn't do that, but I took a break from politics, not politics, but for public service, and decided to just try and encourage democracy, women's movement, stayed active in the community. And then when Trump got elected, which was not something I was planning on, I've been fighting since 2016 for accountability, disclosure, better system for vetting candidates. He was never fit to be president. So I was trying to educate the public as to what was hidden from them. Besides Stormy Daniels, there were quite a few things that his fixer fixed that the public didn't know about. So I don't want everybody feeling so guilty for voting for him because a lot of the stuff was never out there for them. So I've been working on that. I've been trying to educate people as to what he did and what he's been doing. And I can't believe where we're at now. I joined Substack and IOD Nations in November because it's just something I feel really strongly about. I want my country back. I want democracy across the globe. I want women to have equality. And I've fought long and hard for women's rights. And I'm disappointed to see the United States reversing the trend of forward equality and putting us back in the 50s. So that's one of the reasons I joined. I thought that IOD Nations would be a great tool for women as well as men, but women to get more involved. It's hard for women to get involved. They're working, there's so much that they do that I think going online, which is something we all do every day, is a great way to stay in touch with each other, communicate, and bring our issues to light. So your creation that you've been working on for 10 years attracted me, and that's why I got involved. So
Cool. We're glad to have you.
it's great being
so
here.
we've got quite a few people rolling in. Lynn is here. Lynn probably wants to shoot me because I've done so bad at staying in touch with her. So Lynn, if you're going to have any time afterwards today, but don't, not sure, but I really would like to hook up and talk with you. I hope you got my email yesterday. So to everybody who's here, I'm going to do another brief synopsis of who and what we are for the people who are new. And then we're going to roll into some amazing stuff that has blown my mind. I think it kind of blew Deborah's mind, not realizing what's going on. If anybody wants to come into this group and talk, we will be open to that. So
Okay,
IOD Nation
we have
stands for
already a new guest here, Joel. Sorry to interrupt.
not at all.
Okay, so
Who's our new guest?
Michelle Castellin. If you can hear us, hope you would unmute yourself. Oh, I think she's gone.
she's gone. Okay.
So go ahead, Joel, continue.
Okay, IOD Nations, International Online Democratic Nations, is dedicated to the idea of online citizen-led democracy. The idea that I approach it from a macro standpoint, okay? And the idea is that if the pro-democracy citizens of the world unite online, they become the most powerful and influential democracies in history. So Estevan says revolution is the solution. Absolutely, Estevan. But revolution is an amazing word to define. So Sun Tzu said, the supreme art of war is to defeat your enemy without fighting. Opportunities seized multiply. And what's happened, we live in this internet age where we have this virtual world, and we can Estevan, you should come in and talk to me, because we're going to create a second America. Okay, Deborah and I are going to be founding citizens of online democratic citizen-led America. Okay, and we are going to unite the pro-democracy citizens all across America to come together. Okay, and we are going to be a part of inspiring the young people and women and climate activists and LGBTQ plus and the BIPOC. We're going to be a part of bringing these people together, both under their own umbrellas, but united for freedom and democracy online. We're going to blow you away with what is possible. We don't need militias. You can't attack a virtual nation that doesn't have land and borders. It doesn't have natural resources to protect, and it doesn't have land and borders to protect. Our militias are online. That right there, Deborah, that you see, she's like a ninja goddess of online freedom and democracy. Okay, so she's gonna be a part at whatever level she wants to be, until someone comes in and pushes her aside, right? And some young woman or young man somewhere is going to step in where she's helping us. What about reality? Well, we live in the real world. Are you familiar with the sunflower movement in Taiwan? The real movement that's really been doing online democracy for a real 10 years. Is that reality enough? So we'll let you hang around. I'd love to engage with you to a certain extent, but what's different about today's show, we're desperately worried about America. What's different about today's show, we've talked about online citizen-led democracy from a conceptual standpoint. So I'm going to have Draco start off today. Hey, Draco, can you pull up the Simon Sinek video? So for everybody who watches this, no, we have to abolish them. For everybody who watches this, Simon Sinek gave this talk years ago. I think it's the third most popular TED talk in history. And it's about leadership. But the second part of it goes in and discusses the law of diffusion of innovation. Okay. We're going to show you, Esteban, but you'll have to stick with me for a little bit. And the law of diffusion of innovation is the law of human change. It's how it's called a law for a reason. It's such a defined formula on how groups of humans adapt to change, and it's so predictable that they call it a law. So I'm going to let Simon Sinek explain briefly, and then we're going to bring you in and talk about that. Go ahead, Draco.
Something called the law of diffusion of innovation. And if you don't know the law, you definitely know the terminology. The first 2.5% of our population are our innovators. The next 13.5% of our population are our early adopters. The next 34% are your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. The only reason these people buy touch-tone phones is because you can't buy rotary phones anymore. We all sit at various places at various times on the scale, but what the law of diffusion of innovation tells us is that if you want mass market success or mass market acceptance of an idea, you cannot have it until you achieve this tipping point between 15 and 18% market penetration, and then the system tips. And I love asking businesses, what's your conversion on new business? And they love to tell you, oh, it's about 10%, proudly. Well, you can trip over 10% of the customers. We all have about 10% who just get it. That's how we describe them, right? That's like that gut feeling, oh, they just get it. The problem is, how do you find the ones that just get it before you're doing business with them versus the ones who don't get it? So
we found
this little gap that you have to close, as Geoffrey Moore calls it, crossing the chasm. Because you see, the early majority will not try something until someone else has tried it first. And these guys, the innovators and the early adopters, they're comfortable making those gut decisions. They're more comfortable making those intuitive decisions that are driven by what they believe about the world and not just what product is available. These are the people who stood online for 6 hours to buy an iPhone when they first came out, when you could have just walked into the store the next week and bought one off the shelf. These are the people who spent $40,000 on flat-screen TVs when they first came out, even though the technology was substandard. And by the way, they didn't do it because the technology was so great.
Go ahead and pause it, Draco. So if you looked at that image and you see the 34 with the arrow down below it, okay? He's talking about the early majority will not do things until someone else does it first, okay? So in here right now, in this group of people who are watching this, okay, we know that roughly 2.5% of us are the early adopters, the innovators, the inventors. 13.5% of us in general are the early adopters. And you have to get through those, or the law of diffusion of innovation says you have to get through those before the 34% will try something. And in this case, we're saying before you guys who are here with us today, roughly 34% of you are not going to be willing to try or really engage with online citizen-led democracy until we prove the concept. So this is what we've been running into with our calls, right? And with these live feeds is, how do we get through to those people? And then we knew that Taiwan had done something with this, but I did not realize the extent that Taiwan had taken this to. Hey, Draco, can you pull up the donut economics article?
Yep.
And so what we found out is this. In 2014, a group of young Taiwanese students and youth began a protest because they felt that their government wasn't listening to them. They felt their government wasn't sharing information openly. They felt that their government was corrupted. They didn't trust their government. And so they began the Sunflower Movement. And what they demanded was that their government, the government of Taiwan, they demanded that their government engage with them online. And they built these online platforms and they started doing it. In fact, one of the earlier successes, the way the system, as I understand it, is set up, is online. If let's say that Sarah or Elizabeth wants to put an idea up that they think the government should deal with. In Taiwan, it was a 17-year-old girl who did one, and she said she wanted the nation to ban plastic straws. And she got 5,000 signatures or more. 5,000 is the cutoff. If you reach 5,000 supporters, the government has to deal with the issue. And they have to tell you how they dealt with it, and they have to show you how they dealt with it. So it's citizens online pressuring, pushing, prodding, forcing their government to deal with them as a self-governing democracy in the modern age online. And so she put forth the idea of banning plastic straws, got her 5,000. The government of Taiwan met on it and they passed a law. And there's no more plastic straws allowed in Taiwan. But there you go, scroll that. So stop there, Draco. Taiwan has embraced collaborative governance by deploying digital platforms for consensus building, policy co-create. Wait, go back down, Draco. I need to be able to see that. Other way. Okay, right there. Right, can you hold that right there? Taiwan has embraced more collaborative approaches to policy making. Please, can you stop moving it? Draco, are you able to stop moving it?
Yep.
And so what we've got, 70% of the citizens in Taiwan approve of their government. I mean, can you imagine if we had 70% of our citizens approving of our government and 50% of the citizens of Taiwan participate in this online government platform? And so what they've done is they've created this model that works. And so they get access to government data, right? And so Estevan, I love you, man, but we're not here to talk about what can't happen. We're here to talk about how to make things happen. So join us positively working forward and let's talk about the things we can try to accomplish because we are not going to get caught up in the challenges or what might work or what might be difficult. We we are like a machine. We're like a train that's going forward, and we're not going to get deterred from the direction we're going. We're going to establish online citizen-led democracy. And that is the ultimate in American freedom if our citizens are united online democratically. That's what we're here for. So if that motivates you, if you like that idea, damn, we're glad to have you here. But if you feel uncomfortable with that, and I would say maybe just stand by in the background a little bit and watch. And we're just going to keep trying to move forward positively. So this open government data, they've got digital platforms, public agency training ensures that the government data is available, comparable, and of high quality. So they've integrated this online platform for pro-democracy citizens to actually be able to get access to government data right from online. And then they're tackling misinformation. Real-time fact-checking combines human verification and AI under the principle fast, fair, and fun, using engaging memes to amplify accurate information. So I've had people ask me, what are you going to do about AI? And can you scroll that up now, Draco? Put tackling information up at the top. And what's happening, Taiwan has done this. They're 10 years into this. They have a 70% approval rating of their government, and they have 50% of their citizens united online. And that's what we're here for, right? We're here to say to you, the 34% who won't do something until somebody else does it first. Taiwan has done it first. Their government is up and running with a full integration with their citizens online. And it happened because these young people made it happen. But ultimately, what makes it happen is being united online. So we've got 73 people here right now. What we're looking for is at the end of this show today, and we're not going to do the long shows we've been doing, we need to start communicating this better. And we're going to really be focusing on women. We're working with groups of women related to the International Online Democratic Women's Nation. But really, what we're going to be, it is impressive, isn't it, Lauren? And imagine, Lauren, an international online democratic women's nation. Can you imagine how powerful and influential you guys would be? You guys would be able to construct your own Bill of Rights, your own Constitution, your own Declaration of Independence. You would be able to conduct your own governance. And then when we do that, where it's linked up with our traditional governments, now you get to go put those proposals forward. But when you do them, you've already got 10,000 or 20,000 or 100,000 of you that have already agreed that this is important. And you get to force and compel and invite our traditional government to work with you on achieving your goals. And so instead of playing defense, the women of the world are now on offense. Layla, if you want to go, we need an email. Okay. We need a way to talk to you, and we need people to get involved with us. Okay. We're going to meet after this show. If you share an email, you can come into our working group. We'll talk to you about the email campaigns we're trying to do. We'll introduce you to some of the other people who are working with us. Okay. But we're not here to just talk about this shit. Okay. We need more people to come into this working group and help us communicate this. And I believe that this monumental transition we've taken, we can now show people how Taiwan does it. We can show you what departments they developed. We can show you how they're integrating it with their existing government. And you'll just blow yourselves away at what you can accomplish. And it goes everywhere from local government to regional government to state government to national government to international governance. Okay. Deborah, right here, Deborah can be an online democratic citizen of New York. She can be an online democratic women's citizen of New York. She can do the same for the United States of America. She can be a citizen of the overall online democratic citizens of America. It takes out the blame game. We just put forth our issues, Lauren, they get dealt with. She can be a citizen of the online democratic women of the United States nation. Okay. And what happens is, and you can do that internationally. And so what happens is Deborah or Lauren or Layla or John, you can take an issue forward. You can share it with all of those online democratic nations you belong to. And all of you get to bring those issues forward. And when you look at that video that we showed you, that 2.5% to the 13.5% to the 34% that it takes for issues to transition from a concept to reality, for humans to change, because you're united online, you're now achieving these changes like this if they're pro-democracy, right? So Deborah could go in, or Lauren could go in and say, I think that the Online Democratic Women's Nation and the International Online Democratic Women's Nation, the Online Democratic Women's US Nation, and the Online Democratic State of New York citizens, I believe all of us should adopt ranked choice voting. Okay? She puts it up. If all of the support is there, it goes up. You guys are your own damn online nation. Boom, you vote for it. And now you go to the traditional government that Deborah worked in as an assemblywoman in New York, and Deborah is sitting in her office. Now we're taking Deborah away from the online democratic nation, okay? And we're putting her back into her original governmental position, okay? She's sitting at her office as an assemblywoman for the state of New York, and all of a sudden, in her feed, it pops up. We have a bill being proposed, or a motion being proposed to get the traditional politics, the traditional governance of New York to embrace or consider ranked choice voting. But when it comes up on Deborah's office, she looks at it and she goes, holy shit, they've got 280,000 of my constituents who have already signed off on this and want it to happen. I, how can I not support this if I have that much support, right? Or what's our mechanism for putting it out to the people who aren't currently a part of these online nations, right? And so her governmental office has now built that in. They've got their typical communications and everything they had before. They've got their communications with the online democratic nations. And she says, okay, let's shoot an email off to our focus group that's outside. We've got 1,000 citizens who aren't part of the online democracy movement. What do they think of ranked choice voting? And she gets that back. And like this, we start changing things and adapting and moving freedom and democracy forward using the internet and this online digital environment to make that happen. And that's what we're here for. So, anybody have any questions? Would anybody like to come into this call with us? I see we've got Layla has shared an email. She's going to come in with us in our working group afterwards. Abigail did the same thing. Okay. Lauren, I don't know there it is right there. Look at it, Lauren. Right there, we've got 3 people, all women, right? And I will tell you guys, we are putting an emphasis on women because that's kind of where we got most of our audience. But Deborah's been really clear. We need to make this about more than women. We need to make sure that men and other people understand how this online citizen-led democracy can work for them. So we're going to talk about that. Does anyone here have any questions? Did the information about Taiwan and what they're doing surprise you?
No.
Okay, Joel, I want to ask Lauren, Leila, and Abigail if they want to join us this live call and have a conversation with us. So if you guys, I mean, we already have your email addresses, just type in yes so that we know that you are interested to come in and join with us, okay?
Yeah, and another thing, there was someone in here who mentioned they were from England. Is there any chance we could get you? Catherine, thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone here from so Lauren says she'll come into the call. Is anyone here who's from a foreign nation? We would really love to get someone from a foreign nation in here. I mean, Lost Human, are you male or female? Thank you for coming back. We love seeing you here. And Abby, I'll try and remember to call you Abby. Lost Human has been coming to a few of these and really gets it. Okay. Women make up 50%. Thank you, Patricia. Women make up 50% of the population of the world, right? Men are probably 90% of the leadership of the world, and men are the ones who are responsible for this fucked up mess we find ourselves in right now, okay? And so one of the other things that I think is so amazing about this is, yes, like usual, to a certain extent, women are going to have to step in and be a big part of cleaning up this mess. But what is amazing, Patricia, Lauren, Abby, Catherine, you guys live at this moment in history where if you do this and you do it by uniting online, you now become what might be the most powerful and influential force for freedom and democracy that has ever existed. The internet was never here before. The men blocked you guys out. They wrote the matriarchal, governance systems and stuff. I heard one the other day about the Iroquois Nation. I grew up back east. The Iroquois Nation brought together a whole bunch of tribes all over the whole East Coast. And what a lot of people didn't know, and this was a part of Women's History Month, in Iroquois society, the men were the hunter gatherers. They fought the wars. They did all the hunting and all of that stuff. But the decision makers, when to move the tribe, what hunting grounds they were going to go to, whether or not they were going to declare war, okay, that was all done by a committee of Iroquois grandmothers. And they relied on the wisdom of those grandmothers to be the decision makers on where they would go hunt, to be the decision makers on whether they would go to war. Now, when they went to war, the war chiefs and the warriors, those were the ones who fought and would decide how it was going to be done. But these grandmothers were the decision makers. And imagine the International Online Democratic Women's Nation with a committee of grandmothers who are involved in making these decisions about what direction their nation goes in. God, do we need that right now? It's just so crazy that we have this internet in front of us and we haven't taken advantage of it. Laura, did we do anything to get Lauren into this call?
We did, Lauren. We sent you the email. If you cannot find it in your inbox, try to look at your spam or junk folder. Yeah, and let us know if you are having any trouble joining in. And anybody else wants to join in, just drop in yes or your email address, and we will send you an invite.
So, I'm not gonna go through everything. Hey, Draco.
Okay, let me send a.
Okay, so I'm gonna share a part of a video that I did, and then we're gonna end this, and we're gonna go into a working group. Okay. Anybody who wants to come in and be a part of that working group and help us as we develop our communications network to get these messages out. Everybody who has said yes or has given us an email, we're going to include you afterwards. I'm just gonna, I did the first part of this and we showed you what Taiwan is doing and how it's working. Hey Draco, I'm gonna ask you to pull up the long video that I did on the board here that had the really bad camera work, but the really powerful message. And I'm going to ask you to skip ahead to a certain point in that. And I'll need you to stop and start it a couple of times with me. We're going to review that video and then we're going to end this call and we're going to go into our breakout and start working on making some things happen.
Okay, before I played that video, we have a guest. Her name is Abigail Bruce.
Hey, Abigail.
Abby.
Hi there. Hi.
Hey, Abby, thanks for being here. Where are you?
Lake Oswego, just outside of Portland, Oregon.
Portland.
Oh, no kidding. Boy,
Yep.
you've been at the heart of some crazy shit, haven't you?
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you think is this your first time here?
Yeah.
What do you think when you listen to this?
I think that it sounds like finally something that we can actually do. We have to, there has to be a way that the average individuals can make our society the way that we want, because the way it is right now, the people in power, clearly oligarchs, clearly billionaires, clearly people who have a whole thing set up against us, they hold the power and they've rigged it. And there is currently not a feasible way for us to have substantial change. And if things like the election goes away because of, whatever he's going to do, it just takes all our power away. And there are so many people that are so upset, and so many people who want a different kind of society and who want something that takes care of people, where it's just, where people don't have to stress every day over their basic life needs. Like, we can take care of people, and there are enough people who currently feel that way that we have that power to be able to do it if we have the vehicle for it. So this sounds to me like a possible vehicle for it.
Exactly. And I'm gonna play a video for you in a little bit, in just a couple minutes. It's kind of rough,
Okay.
and I'm a little bit pissed off in it. Okay, I get a little bit fired up. Let me ask you this: are there any groups that you work with in Portland? Are you part of any of the groups that are doing stuff?
No, I've wanted to figure out what the connections are, and I know online is not necessarily the reliable way anymore because of, in some cases, depending on what we're talking about, ICE or other people infiltrating online groups. So trying to get plugged in to what's really happening so I can help, and wasn't sure how necessarily, and was looking for that way. And so I think this sounds like it could be a way to start doing that. I have a very full life. I have 3 children, and they're all, 16, 13, 10. I've got a full-time job. I've got lots of stuff. So that doesn't mean to me that I get to sit back and not do anything. But what I can do what I do though has to be able to still allow me to take care of the people that I need to take care of and do what I need to do in life. So I want to find that thing that actually is valuable and helpful in this, whether we call it resistance or creation or whatever we call it. I want to find that place that is like it's my contribution that I can do, even though I'm in the situation that I am in my life.
How much time do you have right now today? Do you have 30 minutes?
My son is home from, I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask, so just so you guys know, I've got Draco, Ashfaq, and Rakesh isn't here today. They're from Bangladesh. Ashfaq's been working on this with me for 10 years. Okay.
Okay.
And I pay them. I pay them slave wages. They're passionate about this project. They had a rebellion 2 years ago, roughly. They overthrew their government, and now in these latest elections, they lost all of that because there was no infrastructure or support, and so the authoritarians are back in control of their government. All right, but I'm gonna play you this video. It's gonna be a bit more from a macro standpoint. It's gonna be a little bit aggressive, but then I would really, what I really would like you to do when we end that, pull me back in to this idea of a mom with 3 kids and a full-time job. How can we make democracy work for you? Because I have some really specific things we can talk about that I think you'll really appreciate. Okay.
Okay.
So Draco,
that sounds good.
Go.
I'm going to turn my camera off because I need to do some things while I'm listening and watching.
No worries. Okay. Go ahead, Draco. Right. And they've pretty much made it their cause. So, okay. So this is me doing a presentation. What you may not realize is you're looking at planet Earth right there. All right. And those are the continents. That's how good an artist I am. But that outside circle is the age of the internet. Okay. This is us talking about, for the last 30 years, we've lived in the age of the internet, and it's this whole environment that surrounds planet Earth. The red lines that you see there, you can barely tell that they're red. Those lines indicate the wealthy and powerful authoritarians who are coming out and taking control of the internet space. Okay. They rep that space between the outside circle, the internet, and the inside circle, planet Earth. That is the internet. So think about that as I proceed here. Go ahead, Draco. Thank you. So if I were to look at anyone who's watching this video, unless you've heard me talk before, and I said, do you access the internet? And almost every person on any of these continents would say, well, yeah, I access the internet, right? But what is the internet? Okay. What makes up the internet? What makes Facebook a international power, right? Facebook has in essence become an online virtual nation. Okay. So you could almost say, that this part of the internet is owned by Facebook, and this part is occupied by Facebook. And they don't own it. This part is by one AI, and this is another AI, right? And you have all of these entities, and they're fighting this game of world domination, right? Can you pause that, Draco? Doing it. And not only are they occupying these spaces, when I drew those initial lines, that's the wealthy and powerful in our traditional land and borders based nations who are controlling this internet, right? It's the never ending battle for world domination, okay? It's always authoritarians against the free and democratic, okay? And the authoritarians are always trying to be dominant, whether it's the Roman Empire, Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, Hitler, Putin, whoever it is, they're trying to obtain dominion. Trump. Go ahead, Ashfa or Draco. Thank you. On the internet, they want to gain dominion over all of that. But what is the internet? What are you obtaining dominion over, right? Where does if this is Facebook here, right? And they occupy and dominate this part of the internet, and then they're using the money from that, and they're going into AI and they're gaining dominion over other parts of the internet. What is Facebook? Where does Facebook get their value? Where do they get the right to that? And do you really access the internet? Because our premise at IOD Nations is this simple. And it says, we are the internet. But we take it a step further, okay? We don't access the internet. We are the internet. And we have a message. We grant Facebook access to us. All these AIs and Amazon and everybody there who wants access to us on the internet. We go, without us, I want this to be a song. I want it to be a cheer, a chant. You and I, each of us, we are the internet. Without us, you ain't shit. Okay? The power and influence that this AI or Facebook or TikTok or whoever it is, their primary value is us, right? We're the commodity. They're milking us. They only are able to sell their advertising and get everything they want. Can you pause that, Draco? If anybody hasn't taken a chance, I'm going to tie these two together. On our website, iodnations.org, I did a manifesto, which is a long discussion with a AI about online citizen-led democracy. It's really, the writing might be a little bit off, but the message from start to finish is the most insane, powerful message you could get. But just last night, Bernie Sanders broke a new video. Okay, he launched it, and it's his conversation with Claude, the AI named Claude. And it is a profound, eye-opening discussion about this power of the internet, about AI, about how they're using all of this information against us. And when you watch that video, I'm just sitting there wishing that Bernie Sanders had asked some of the questions that are in the manifesto that I wrote. Because if he had asked that, and this chat was happening today, there would be 1,000 or 100,000 people in here listening. Go ahead, Draco. It's an amazing, I think it's like 9-minute conversation between Bernie Sanders and Claude. It's really, really worth listening to. Go ahead, Draco. Because they get that money from us, right? The companies that advertise on Facebook, like we've tried to run ads on Facebook to promote freedom and democracy. Did you know we cannot even run a paid ad, or it's very difficult to run a paid ad that uses the word freedom or democracy. So basically, you've got Facebook trying to stop freedom and democracy from spreading. Now, you can debate whether they're doing that purposely or not, right? But they're trying to stop freedom and democracy from spreading because the bigger and more powerful they can get, okay, they can then come over and obtain dominion over another part of the internet. All right. But we don't access the internet. We grant access of Facebook to us, right? When I go on and sign on my computer and I open it up, I get to decide whether I go to Facebook. They're not the internet. They just happen to have attained dominion across this, just like Twitter has TikTok or ChatGPT or PayPal or all these motherfuckers who control the internet, right? We are the internet. They're controlling us. But without us, they ain't shit. Okay? We could literally, if you got people to unite online, which is International Online Democracy, International Online Democratic Nations.org. Our contention is all you have to do is get one large contingent of pro democracy citizens to unite online, right? And we're doing it. The majority of the people who follow us are women, okay? And we're proposing that the women of the world and the women of the United States, and in alignment with the Epstein victims, okay, we're proposing that all of those pro-democracy women unite online and that they form, found, and establish the International Online Democratic Women's Nation. Okay, so that's the IOD. Can you pause that, Draco? So just we are always challenged to get comments in here because we're not just looking for hearts or that kind of stuff. I'm giving a presentation at in a park for a pro democracy thing tomorrow, and I'm going to open it with this question. If I was standing before you telling you that I was there representing 152,000 women who online have founded the International Online Democratic Women's Nation. So I'm up on a stage and I say, I'm here to represent the 152,000 women who have founded the first online democratic nation, the International Online Democratic Women's Nation. How many women in this audience would be willing to share their email to join that online democratic women's nation and become a citizen, right? And if I said that to that crowd or I said that to this group right here, I think that probably, we might get somewhere between 10% to 50 or 60% of the women here who would say, well, shit, you mean all I have to do is send my email and I can become a citizen of your online democratic women's nation? And we go, yeah, we're just trying to get the numbers and then we're going to collaborate and see what the hell we can accomplish. And I bet you a lot of women would say, hell yeah, I want to be a part of that. I guarantee you Lauren, who was here, would have done it, right? And I know so many like Lost, okay? And like Deborah, who keeps coming back. My point is, before we can get to the 152,000, we got to get to 25. We got to get to 100. We got to get to 1,000. Okay. And we're looking for, and it doesn't just have to be the women. It can be another nation. We can all collaborate, right? And you'll see that in just a minute. We just need some people to share your email, come into our working group, and start getting this up to the point where um, uh, uh, Arthur Schopenhauer said, all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it's disregarded. Second, it's violently opposed. And third, it's accepted as self-evident. Okay? A year from now or 2 years from now, online citizen-led democratic nations are going to be accepted as self-evident. Okay? The online democratic women's nation is going to happen. All right? It's just how long is it going to take and how much damage is going to be done before the women of the world finally realize that if they unite online, they can actually fight back. Okay? And so we're just trying to expedite that process. We're trying to get people to come in and help us. So please, we're going to use your emails and we're going to meet, and probably within 10 minutes, we'll end this, or maybe a little longer, because I definitely want to talk to Abby. So go ahead, Draco. Women's Nation. Okay? Now that nation is based upon a premise that I developed, and it's called, I don't even have a name for it, but it says this: if a business no longer requires brick and mortar, if Facebook can become a world dominant business primarily without brick and mortar, then a nation no longer requires land and borders. We can do the IOD Women's Nation, the IOD Youth Nation, the IOD Climate Nation, the IOD LGBTQ Nation, the IOD Art Nation, okay? Whatever you want to do. Imagine the IOD Art Nation. Imagine if all the musical
Don't you just want to do this for the artists of the world, all the musicians who are getting
created
screwed?
their own nation, and they said to Spotify, Spotify, we need you to do a couple things. We need you to declare that you're pro-democracy, and we need you to put steps in place to prove it, okay? We need you to collaborate with all of our artists, musical artists, because that's who Spotify is, and you need to put together a profit-sharing program with them that's much more in line with their values. And just so you know, if you're not interested in it, we've got $1 billion women who are pro-democracy, and they want the artists to get more money from their music. When we pay for our subscriptions, okay, let's say it's
Pause that for a sec, Draco.
Veteran. This is like one of these perfect examples, and I may be, Deborah will educate me. What's the term if you're judging women unfairly, Deborah? I mean, there's misogynistic. I may be biased when I say that. I may be biased when I say this, but I'm going to say this. I bet you more often than not, if women had established these online social media platforms like, Facebook or Spotify or whatever, I guarantee you women would have been more considerate of getting the artists paid. They would have been a little bit more thoughtful about, we need to try and support the arts, instead of just how much freaking money can we make off of this and become the dominant force. It's just it's a little bit different in the mental and emotional makeup, and that doesn't mean it's always there. I'm just saying it in general. Okay, and I want artists to get paid for their music. So go ahead, Draco. Nation, International Online Democratic Veterans Nation, right? And they're saying, hey, we got a lot of veterans who are musicians and they're getting fucking ripped off. So we want to be in alignment with the 1 billion from the IOD Women's Nation. And then the IOD BIPOC Nation says, wait a minute, motherfuckers. We're responsible for Motown. and we want our music to benefit. So we're the BIPOC nation. We're going to work with the Art Nation and the Women's Nation. And our message to Spotify or I don't know what the other platforms are that are out there is meet our requirements, or we're all going to cancel our subscriptions. Okay? And if we do cancel our subscriptions, we're only going to go somewhere else temporarily because we will have just put you out of business. In essence, there's a good chance that might happen. Or if we haven't, we have substantially impacted the value of your company, because now you have to remember, we are the internet. We are Spotify. Without us, you ain't shit. Without the artists and without the women, you're not a very valuable company. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do what the business world does all the time, and all these wealthy motherfuckers do all the time. We're going to execute either a friendly or a hostile takeover. We're not, maybe the International Online Democratic Art Nation is going to decide that they want to collaborate with the International Online Democratic Technology Nation. And they don't want to acquire Spotify or whoever it is, okay? That's their prerogative. Those nations are going to come up with this. I'm not up here telling people how things have to work, right? What IOD Nations is doing, and what we're trying to explain to people is the minute you realize we are the internet. Without us, you ain't shit. We are the internet. Without us, you ain't shit. We are the internet. Without us, you ain't shit. Okay? The minute we do that, we now have dominion. Okay? So now what happens is we come in and we dominate all of this internet space. And why are we able to dominate it? Because it's us. We are self-determinate human beings. We can collaborate with each other. We can establish these nations. They can determine their own Bill of Rights and their declarations of independence and their constitutions and their voting structures. If the International Online Democratic Women's Nation wants to adopt ranked choice voting, they put it up for a vote and they do it. Okay. If the International Online BIPOC Nation wants to get together and they want to collaborate with the International Online Democratic Education Nation, and they want to put together a whole online education system that benefits the Black, Indigenous, and people of color across the world. Can you pause that, Draco? To do that. So imagine you've created this new online education system, and not only do they do it over there in conjunction with the BIPOC Nation, where the influences and the effects that the people of color have had on establishing the United States, they get to put that into an online education system. A lot of this stuff, like the Oklahoma riots that happened, and when the Black community in Oklahoma had built up one of the most vibrant economic communities in the United States, and they just went in there and they burned the whole fucking thing down and they crushed their businesses. That can be a part of the history. And the women, right? You could have Diana, okay? Diana's president of the International Online Democratic Women's Nation, and she says, hey, wait a minute. We would like to collaborate with you on your education nation, and we want to really bring back into history a lot of the things that women accomplished that got written out of the history. Can we participate with you on that? Right? And then everybody says, oh, well, you know, the biggest thing we're missing, We haven't been educating our kids that you actually have to fucking participate in democracy for it to work. So we go in, we teach them when young people participated in democracy. We teach them about what the young people did in Taiwan and established this whole online interconnected governance that is just breaking the rules of how the world is led, right? And you put it into this education system and you make it a part of teaching people what is required. Go ahead, Draco. Because it's their fucking nation, okay? It's not the assholes in red who are trying to obtain dominion over us. And so that is a preliminary kind of an introduction to what the power and potential of international online or national online citizen-led democracy can be. Now, I'll close this out on this. So you say, how do you get those people to organize, right? Now, like I said, I've been trying for 10 years to get people to think about and understand this. And the thing you need to understand is, hey, Draco, I'm going to have you pause that and skip it ahead, and I'm going to say something. Can you skip that ahead maybe a minute to a minute and a half? The way you get people to unite is with a damn email, okay? I mean, there's so many ways we can unite. Anybody here who's involved with the No Kings March, with Indivisible, with 5051, with the Midas Network, with Crooked Media and Pod Save America, all these, I've been reaching out to these people, okay? If just one influential person of consequence would come out and start talking about this, everybody would realize this mouse, okay, this phone that we've got, if I'm gonna at my presentation tomorrow, I'm gonna ask everybody there to email our local board of supervisors and ask them to start implementing online citizen-led democracy with our local government, right? And if I can get enough people in our community to send that email and show our board of supervisors how Taiwan did this, how it works, what they're using it for, how it's evolved over 10 years, we can take what they learned, all of the lessons that they've learned, we can put our own spin on it because it's our integration with the government, right? Everybody gets to create it their way, but you make that happen and we can start making these things happen. Draco, did you skip that ahead like a minute or two? I want to bring this to an end and get Abby in here before she's gone and get us into our group.
Yes, I did.
Go ahead and hit play. I might ask you to back it up. I want to get to the part about no militaries. And if they all send it to the same location, they're all united there. And if they collaborate there democratically and they call themselves a nation, they are an international online democratic women's nation. So at the click of your mouse, you send an email. If enough people do it, you've created a nation. We want the women of the world to found the International Online Democratic Women's Nation, okay? But Ukraine, the women of Ukraine can participate in that. Can you skip that forward, Draco? Right now in the world, you can do that so that they can expand. Do it another minute if you could. That's the reality of the situation, okay? But you could just have 1 billion people, or you could start with 1,000. You could start with 100. We're going to be doing it. We do it after every show in our live feeds. We're starting to send emails, okay? And send it to NATO, and all you have to say is, hi, NATO, I'd like to become a registered online democratic citizen with or NATO. The UN. And we would like or you Governor Newsom to publicly announce that you are endorsing the creation and expansion of online citizen-led democracies. Okay? Now, Ukraine unites online. They get a bunch of their citizens to unite online, and NATO gives them recognition. But not only does NATO give them recognition, Ukraine says, by the way, we want to establish an online NATO or an online UN, and we want to be the founding online democratic citizen-led nation that does that. So now all of a sudden, you have not just all the traditional nations or all the NATO nations, but you have all of these online democratic nations that are uniting, and Ukraine is one of the first who did it. Okay? And I'm going to leave you with this. This is one of the most important parts, especially I think women will appreciate this. But what are some of the primary fundamental differences between online democratic nations and traditional land and borders based nations? Okay. What do you think might be like some of the fucking extraordinary differences that happen? Here's one of the most important ones, if not the most important one. These virtual nations that are established, they don't have land and borders. You cannot attack them with the military. And they are not a part of the existing governance of Ukraine, for instance. The online democratic citizens of Ukraine, they operate independently. They operate in conjunction with all of the other international or national online democratic nations. Okay? So if they collaborate and do something, you can't attack them with the military. It changes the power dynamics of the world. It fucking disrupts the industrial military complex, okay, which is already happening.
Military industrial complex.
The United States of America is getting shut out because we're now in alignment with the authoritarian fascists and communists of the world, right? And the rest of the free world is abandoning us. But if the online democratic citizens of Australia are starting to feel threatened by China, okay, they get all of these others, and maybe they impose their own sanctions or tariffs on China or Russia or Iran or North Korea or anybody who's fucking up world peace and starting wars like the United States is right now, okay? What happens is the pro-freedom and democracy citizens of the world now control the whole environment that envelopes the world because we are the internet. Without us, they ain't shit. That's today's presentation. I hope that helps you understand the power and potential of online citizen-led democracy. And I hope that my artwork has just astounded you the way it does me. Thanks so much. And we look forward to seeing you on our next show. And maybe then I'll be able to figure out how to keep my face in the goddamn camera. And remember, make democracy offensive, not anonymous. Thanks, guys. Okay, we're going to have a breakout meeting in just a bit. Abby, are you still around? Would you be did you get any of that? Did that kind of
Yep, I watched the whole thing. I do have a couple questions though.
Go ahead. Go for it.
What about, so you have these groups that can affect change through coordinated decision making, essentially, that results in where our money goes. What happens when you have two online nations who actually do want different things? How do you, it's not physical war, but there is always the situation where you have the bad players hacking something or, doing some sort of, trickery. How would how would that sort of situation be resolved in this framework?
I've kind of got two ideas about that. So when I went in and looked at the sunflower movement and how that's evolved in Taiwan, what they've done is, as it's evolved, I'm going to give you a link because this is where, how can I go here? Why isn't, oh, there we go. So let me give that to you. Oh, I did that again, didn't I? Okay, here we go. So here's a link to their group. And what I have just kind of skimmed and learned, they've made this a key component of what they're doing. So one of the first departments they founded has to do with two things. It has to do with cyber warfare because they're under constant hourly immense attacks by China from that standpoint. And also now, as AI has come on board, they're doing that. And so I don't know how they're doing it. I'm too much of I am not a tech person, but what they have done, they've built that into this online governance system, and they've actually, I don't know which came first as far as like the chicken and the egg, but I'm certain that the government was already doing some of those things, and they're working with these young people who established this online governance, and evidently they've evolved it quite a ways. And when you think about what they're up against, I mean, China is probably the leading nation in the world at this kind of stuff. And so they've addressed it in some way, both from an AI standpoint and from a hacking and security standpoint. Does that kind of give you at least some preliminary ideas on that? And let me say your second part. So let's say that the IOD Women's Nation wants to, we'll say, quote unquote, go to war with sanctions and tariffs in a certain way. They have a cause. They've put it up for a vote. Okay, that's what their nation decided. If the IOD climate nation says, no, we're not interested in participating in that, that's their independent nation. It's just like right now, all of Europe's choosing not to go in and fight with us in Iran. They're saying, hey, that was your war, you started it. So I just think those kinds of things work out the way that they're meant to do in a constitutional republic or a representative democracy, right? There's not these perfect answers, and there's going to be hellacious problems and challenges to be dealt with, right? If the women of the world become one of these dominant forces, look, we didn't just give you some freaking cake to go have a birthday. The men of the world have left you in a shit position, and we're there with you, right? I'm going to be online. I want to be a citizen of the art nation. I want to be a citizen of the journalism nation. I want to be a citizen of the international online democratic comedic nation. Okay, because those guys are on the cutting edge when shit gets messy, right? You look at what's happening to Kimmel and Colbert. They're right there. They're the tip of the spear, and so they each get to decide what battles they want to fight and how they want to fight them, and that's what democracy is. What else?
Okay, I like to address Abigail a little bit on the security issue. Abby, yeah. So Abby, imagine we built an app, for specifically for United States or California, okay? And we have this code as publicly open, but it's secured in Pentagon. Okay, I mean, Pentagon is so secure that even Chinese hackers cannot penetrate that system. So we have the same thing in two places where people can see actually what's inside, but it's actually operating inside from the Pentagon, so nobody can mess around with it. So like that's the simplest explanation I can give it to you. But if we are not collaborating with government, there are so many other security measures we can take. I am a tech guy and I know a little bit of this stuff, so definitely I can help you out with some of those stuff when we decide to make that app. But for now, let's just try to bring in more people so that we can make it happen.
Well, that leads to one of my other questions, and thank you for that. That is, how many people are currently a part of this?
That's a difficult question to answer.
You'd have to define what a part is, okay?
And
so
I don't know.
We're up to So we're up to about 800 subscribers on our Substack, which is where our primary audience is. We probably have, I would say, 20 to 30 emails that people have said they want to be involved, like in the breakout groups and that kind of stuff. And so our strategy in this workout group that we're going to go into is we're overwhelmed. Okay. I've got these 3 guys who are trying to help me. We've got a website, we've got a Substack, we're trying to write articles, we're trying to create video content. They all have some challenges with English. I have I'm ADHD. I am not the most organized guy nor the person who should be running this. So we're trying to get this group who will realistically we have some email groups. One is political science professors. Another group is we've put together a group of every county supervisor in the state of California. Okay. We've got, we're putting together email groups with some other nations. Like we've tried to get through to Ukraine. We can't really. We definitely, one of the things I figured out just this week as I found out what's going on with Taiwan, I really want to reach out to some of those groups. I just don't think that people have really looked at this from the macro standpoint the way that I just described in that video. And so when I'm digesting this, if I follow a bit too much crap online about what's going on in Russia and this kind of stuff. So I'll just say this right now, there are, it appears, it might be propaganda, I haven't dug into it enough to really know. It appears that there are large numbers of fishing boats from China who have begun collaborating or unifying in the ocean between China and Taiwan. Now, whether that's true or not, who knows? What it really means, who knows? But that situation where I said, if Australia, because Australia and Japan are feeling very, very threatened by China. Okay. As a matter of fact, Carney just wrote this big deal with Australia that now aligns Australia with Europe because they've been abandoned by us in the United States. And so these things are happening. Taiwan is, in my heart of hearts, I believe what we're talking about right here could determine whether or not Taiwan survives and comes out of this. Because if you look at what's going on, the European economies are being decimated. The whole world economies are going to go through a big downturn coming here. I don't think people realize how bad it's going to be. Okay. In Europe, in Europe, their citizens are starting to get pissed about all the money that's coming out of their coffers and going to Ukraine. Okay. And the weapons and all of that. Now what you've got, I believe that China manipulated Trump into attacking Iran. I don't believe they're the sole force for that, but from what I understand, we went through a shit ton of our missiles and are going through that right now. So you've got Europe and the United States economically and militarily dramatically weakened. Okay. Now, if you do that and you get us where our economy is tanking and where the European nations are under all of this pressure because of what's going on in Ukraine, and then China decides to go after Taiwan, Trump, I, I can just about guarantee you, Trump is not going to abide by our agreement to stand by Taiwan. And so I think China could be positioning this to weaken the surrounding powers and to wear them down and get us to a point where we're like, fuck no, we're not going into another war. And here's the kicker. Taiwan, if I'm not mistaken, is the #1 producer of the highest tech chips in the world. Those chips are used in all of this AI. They're used in all of this military. It's why Biden put forth building this chip manufacturing plant in the United States. And all China has to do is invade. And they now, I think that business, it's 60 Minutes did a show on this. I think that they control something like 60 to 70% of the highest tech chips in the world. And if China is really doing that and they're putting themselves in that position right now, and if all of us could unite online and look at them and say, you bastards do that, our countries, our militaries may not come at you, but we are going to put in strategic and tactical tariffs and sanctions, and your economy cannot handle what we're going to do to you. So don't you dare fuck with Taiwan. And so I believe we're at this nexus where Taiwan both has the expertise in that they've done this for 10 years. They've created these platforms. They can help us really bring that online. But then if a bunch of nations jump into it and a bunch of citizens do, it immediately gives Taiwan this whole online democratic citizenship who can help protect them. And that could be really critical to whether China obtains ownership and controlling interest in all of these chips, which would be horrific militarily, technologically, and economically, socially. It would just change the dynamics of the world. And I honestly believe that's where we sit.
I'm going to drop in some information with what Joel said. This is a recent development in Iran. They are saying that they will let oil tankers go if they trade in with yuan, not in US dollar. So I mean, now this is clear that this is a like a master plan folding in front of our eyes, but we are kind of clueless what's happening and what's going to happen next. So, I mean, we actually need to do good research to find out what is China up to. I mean, they are clearly winning the war without even fighting, and Donald Trump is just, dragging.
They're subduing their enemy in ways. China's not doing the fighting. They're funding Russia and they're funding Iran and they're letting all of them die, right? And let their countries get destroyed. Sorry to interrupt, Ashfaq, but Draco, that image that I posted today, that graph, and I'm going to do this and then we're going to move. Did you want to keep going? Did I cut you off, Ashfaq?
No, I'm good. I'm just wanted to say that we as ordinary people, like we need to. I mean, I am trying to find ways how we can protect ourselves from all this mess happening. Like the decisions that are taken by some politicians are affecting our lives, and how we can actually make a change. How we can stop those monsters to like kill millions of people. and Arab nations is the vessel. We can actually, come in all together, form.
We can at least try.
Yeah, we can at least try. That's at least it creates a hope, and that is why I'm here to, get as much people as we can.
Okay, so I'm
I'm in the
gonna
same place.
I'm gonna bring
Can
I'm gonna bring you in just a minute. Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Draco, can you show that chart, Draco? The one that I posted today that was China and the United States. I saw this chart this morning.
Okay, so here it is.
It's the drop in global perceptions of the US because of Donald Trump. And so what you're looking at is this is global average net favorability of the US and China. Look how the United States has dropped and look how China has risen. And they've just manipulated Iran because Iran controls these straits, and they've now got, like, I forget what it is, 28 nations or whatever, who have agreed that they will purchase this oil not on a dollar-based economy, but on a Chinese yuan-based economy. This is the game of world domination being played out right before our eyes. Abby, go ahead.
Just, everything that was said, those are the reasons that I want to be, involved in anything that can help stop the horrific things that are happening and also do the things that should be happening. For example, with the Epstein files. And I want to say, what you're talking about with women proactively and offensively starting to lead the change that we want in the world and saying, screw it. Obviously, it hasn't worked the way it's been going in the past. So, and we're not waiting for permission to do this. We're doing it.
Exactly.
And
yes.
that I want to say that in all of the platforms that I'm on and the conversations that I'm reading, the comments on people's posts, the vibe is huge right now and literally women are saying this all over the platforms that I am. Women are saying, okay, screw this. If the men aren't doing this, we're going to do this. And clearly the men have gotten us into this position and we are tired of being in the position and we're not going to be in the position. So we're going to lead it. So I'm just saying that this thing that you want to do, that sense of it happening now is there. Everyone is just looking for the vehicle to do it.
This is what's so important that I wanted to address when you were talking earlier and you asked how big we were, and then the other part when we were talking to you as a mother of 3 working a full-time job, okay? And these two are directly integrated. So imagine that you're a citizen of the online Democratic Women's Nation and you've defined 2 or 3 key issues that are of major importance to you. And within the online Democratic Women's Nation, you can't possibly keep up with all of this shit. You don't, you want to be there for your family, right? You've got your job and your responsibilities there. You want to be involved, but your life can't revolve around it, right? Deborah and I are sitting here. We're older. Our kids are grown. I've got a part-time business, but we have a lot more time. So imagine this. On the online Democratic Women's Nation, you've identified these key issues that are there for you, okay? And you've said, I want my daily vitamins twice a week when I wake up, okay? Or when I go online in the morning. And I'm going to hop on, and the system is automatically going to know these are Abby's issues. This is what's happening right now. This is the current status on those issues. Here's a brief synopsis for her on what's happening in the world and a couple of different opinions from journalists or writers within the nation that you've grown to trust. You understand how they think, right? And you look at it and you go, oh, they're doing an email attack on some company, okay? And they go, hey, Abby, do you want to participate in this one? You can sign up for 15 minutes, okay? From 10 o'clock at night to 10:15 before you go to bed. You've been able to take care of your family, okay? Or maybe you set it up automatically. It's during business hours. We've determined someone who's an enemy to freedom and democracy. We're going to bombard them with emails and shut their email system down because we subdue our enemy without fighting, and opportunities seized multiply, right? And all you have to do if you want to participate, the schedule's right there. You sign up, and we don't have a million people doing it at the same half an hour. It's strategic and tactical. It's broken out. You can set it up ahead of time. Boom, boom, boom. Abby got to participate. She still got to go to soccer practice. She was there for work. She feels like she's a part of making something happen, but her life doesn't need to revolve around it. But what Abby knows is if she ever comes across something that's really important, she can go right into the inline ideas portal or issues portal, and she can post it and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. It could be local in Portland. It could be national or international. Are there any other people who would support me in moving this issue forward? You'll find out. Your people, the women of your nation, are going to be right there. And they're going to say, just like you did about earlier, what the different nations do, the democratic citizens, women's of this nation are going to say, oh, pardon, I get a little, I go with my
It's
language, okay?
It's okay.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck, it's Abby again. She's always posting shit that nobody wants to get involved in, right? And
Right.
Abby kind of gets pushed to the wayside, right? Or it's like, holy shit, whenever Abby speaks, everyone listens. Look at what she said. Wow.
Yeah.
We should all get behind this. Why didn't we think of that? And you get this way to live and still be an active participant who can really make a difference in your democracy. And
Right.
if you want to be a citizen of the climate nation and the art nation or the
Yeah.
veterans nation or the international diplomacy nation or whatever the hell people create, right? Your idea goes up there, and all of a sudden the art nation comes over and says, man, we want to work with the women's nation on this. Let's make this shit happen. It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
It is. It is something that I can see myself being a part of. Two things. One, is this international online democratic women's nation already a thing that can be joined, even if it's not
I'm the
fully
current
created?
president.
Okay, so what's the address to get? What's the website?
You're really just going to IOD nations. So we're trying
Okay.
to we're trying to build this. So I'm going to go back to one other thing and then address what you said.
Okay.
We don't have that nation yet. We speak about it as if it's happening. We've had a lot of women in here who've said they would like to be a part of it, but we don't really have the support. Here's the thing.
Can we just create it? I mean, on your website?
We can do anything.
Like, can we just make a page and start it? Like,
yep.
So we have a website.
And so
we have a,
wait. Yeah, we have that ability there, but I want to go back to what you said, Abby. You talked about these other threads or substacks or whatever that you're involved in and that you see, and all these women who are waiting for this. One of the articles that we wrote, we sent an email campaign to the attorneys for the victims of Epstein, and we asked them if they would be interested in joining us in this movement. Okay. And so what I believe is, yes, we are on the cutting edge of this. No, we don't have a big following, but I actually believe if I can get one influencer or politician or podcaster or anything of consequence that has an audience already, I believe that this thing's going to kind of trickle along, and we're going to do a little bit better each week at our email campaigns, and then something's going to happen and it's going to go viral, right? AOC is going to look at it, and AOC is going to go, holy shit, how did I miss this? Why didn't I think about this? And if AOC says these guys have created this little seed of a women's nation, would all of the women who listen to me go over there? What if Taylor Swift said that to the young women? You cannot own
to Ted Cruz.
What's
today.
that?
Somebody from, so I shared this live from, different threads, and someone said, okay, I left a message to Ted Cruz on a reply.
Ted Cruz is not our target audience.
I know, but he's an influencer, right? And he got a big following, and like we need just one of them to.
But we do want conservatives, right? We do want an international online democratic conservative nation. We need a place where these conservatives who feel like their government isn't working for them and feel like there's no place for them, we're opening our arms. Our mission is healthy, vibrant, competitive democracy. Unfortunately, not many of you seem to want to participate now, but please don't think that we don't want you. We're just not, you're not really who we view as our first ones that we think we'll have a breakthrough with. But maybe that's wrong. It may be that they become the ones that break through first.
Here's my sense. My sense is they will come, they will create their voice later. I think that the tide that's going to happen first is their commonality with other women, not their political leanings. At this point, with all of the things that are coming out with the Epstein stuff, honestly, that has broken something loose in women. And no matter what political side you are on, the women are coming together. And I think that is going to be the force that is going to first shape everything. And once that wave, and I think it's going to wash. I mean, this is a crazy time to be alive. Like it's absolutely a crazy time to be alive. But that I think is going to happen. And I will say to your influencer thing, I never aspired to be an influencer, and I am not a large influencer, but weirdly enough, I do have a following on different platforms now, and it's because I have passionately been sharing what I feel is the truth and the news that needs to be known so people can be enraged about the things they need to be enraged about. We need to harness that rage. But based on all of that sharing, I do have a following now. I will also say I'm a communicator. My personal life, I've always written, and
I can tell.
my job, my professional career is literally communications. So I do not have the skills to build an app. I do not have the skills to build a website. I do have the skills to write things.
We have it. We have the very basics of it.
I mean, we can invent it together, okay? So
no, we're gonna Ashfaq, that's something we're gonna invent. I don't want to make too much of a decision, but I think Abby's gonna, because of everything she has in her life, she's probably going to be a bit in the periphery. But Abby, what we are going to do is we're going to share with you the beginnings of that, of what Ashfaq has started to put together. There's actually so for your local government, if you know anybody in your local government, Abby, there's an application. Draco or Rakesh will share it in the feed. It's called Decidim, and it's actually an online platform where citizens can unite, and it's designed to integrate with local governance. Okay, so this is already happening. We're just trying to make it happen on a really big scale. But here's what I want to tell you. Okay, Deborah is just this shining light to me, okay? Because Deborah did the same thing that you did. You came in here informed, intelligent, with common sense, right? and a, a heartfelt care and concern about what's going on. And you get it. Okay. I was too much of a coward for 10 years. I do not want to be here. I don't like being on the camera like this. I, you know, it's just not my gig, man. I want to be behind the scenes. I want to be writing. I want to do crazy videos or have some fun. And I want to go back and take care of my body and my health. But
Yeah.
I can't right now. I made a vow or a resolution that I would not be a coward anymore. I would put myself out front effective January 1st. And I'm going to get the world to talk about online citizen-led democracy no matter what. Deborah came in 2 weeks ago or whatever, just like you've come in here tonight. And we're going to make it happen. You are going to be responsible for one or two other people who come in here and have a discussion with us. Okay. And somewhere we're going to get another couple of people. And at some point, that straw is going to break. And an AOC or a Bernie Sanders or a Katie Porter or an Elizabeth Warren or a Jasmine Crockett or a Liz Cheney or any of the people who are on at Midas. There's some Katie Fang. My God, I wrote an article. It was I think, or I at least wrote the preliminary. I'm tired of being president of the online Democratic Women's Nation. Okay. I'm unfit for the job in many ways. Okay. Katie Fang, she's so freaking smart. She's so well spoken. We need people like that to step up. And back to the Taylor Swift thing. Can you imagine all of these young women realizing they get to not just become a citizen of the online Democratic Youth Nation and the online Democratic Women's Nation, they get to design it and implement it and lead it and champion it, right? If you could get what it she and what's his name, Kelsey, they did like $50 million in some mission. All she would have to do is step up and say, will you Swifties go help the victims of Epstein and these women establish these online democratic nations? If she said that, it would be done. The whole world would change. All of these other nations would get behind it. We're just on the cusp. I'm telling you, man. And sometimes it kicks my ass, and sometimes I'm so inspired I just can't stop. And you help make that happen today with this audience here by having this conversation. You're making that happen. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I guess my contribution for the time being is I can look at your website, see the items that have been written that explain the concepts you're talking about, which I understand. And what I think I would do right now to help is in ways that I think would be most effective, start sharing links, start sharing quotes from it, start forming my own language around it, and I can share it and I can tag people and I can
make
do
it
that.
yours.
That's what I can do right now. And I think a huge thing too is commenting in the conversation, because that's where people start discussing, this needs to happen, we need to do this. And if in those conversations we give a solution to jump on board, that's where it is.
Imagine, so a couple of things. You've shared your email address here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We will be sharing some email campaigns with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
When you get that, it'll have a template of what we're proposing as an email. For instance, if you read the article about the Epstein victims, I created my template of my email to them, and we listed all of their attorneys. Now, I think we had 5 or 6 people send those emails that day, and we haven't heard anything back yet. But we're not giving up on that, and we're going to do other email campaigns. And so if you have a little bandwidth and if you have a little time, one of the other things you can do is if one of those email campaigns really strikes you, or if you have an idea, right? You have our email. You can, I'm sure Deborah would share her information. You could say, hey, I'd like to structure an email like this to the political science professors or to the Epstein victims. I think if I would be really comfortable sending this message to them, what do you guys think? We would probably take your email idea and what you constructed, and we would either use it verbatim or we would put it out with everybody gets to take it and put their own spin on it, right? So there are ways that and one of those emails could catch the right person at the right time, and it could be the one that gets somebody to comment. And so it's that's where we are now. We've not done a really good job communicating. We've been trying to get us figuring out how to talk about it. Our breakout group after this is going to be how we're constructing those emails. And so that's another way you might just be able to participate that we don't necessarily see. But the other thing is if you and Deborah or if anyone here who's listening to this, if you get into a group or a chat on Substack and you're seeing some traction, right? Reach out to us and remind us, because we're spinning out of control sometimes. I can't keep track of it all. And say, hey, if we could get a couple of more people to engage in this Substack discussion, we're getting some people who are starting to get it, and that could really work. I was handing out flyers. I'm going to give a speech tomorrow. I was handing out flyers last night. I walked up to one lady and I explained to her, I said, have you seen what Taiwan did by uniting their citizens online? And this is what we're working on. That was all I had to say to her. She looked at me and she said, holy crap. If we do that, it blows everything up. And she was mentally and emotionally, I didn't have to connect the dots for her. She got it immediately, right?
And there are so many of us that do right now.
There's so many who are just waiting for the little switch to click, and it's going to happen. I'm convinced of it. It's just a matter of how quick and how we're going to make it happen. So anything else you would leave us with before you go? And then we're going to go into our working group.
Okay.
You're welcome. You're invited there.
I appreciate that. I do have some work that I do need to get done. So for now, I think this is a good place for me to stop. But I think, yes, we will be in contact. You have or will send me an email with the email campaign information. I can look at that. I can get involved through that. I have notes to myself about sharing different things after I have, again, read through and kind of formulated some ideas based on what you have on your website. So for now, I think those are action items that I feel fully capable of doing.
I'd like to ask you a favor when you do that.
Sure.
I would like to ask you to do that. If you go through and you look at our articles and you see anything like a theme that you think we should be building on, or something that you think was a mistake. So I did an article. Are you going to go to the No Kings March anywhere?
That's my plan.
Next
yes.
Saturday.
Yeah.
If you do, I've been trying to get Indivisible and 5051 to use that event to get people to unite online, and I can't get them to even talk about it. But shit, what was my point for you?
Build on
I forget.
themes.
We're going.
Articles.
Oh, I wanted. Okay, so I did one article. I said, forget no kings, make it pro queens. Look at Deborah's face. She's like, get me away from this guy. My point, the point that I was going for was we need to stop playing defense and what we're fighting against, and we need to empower the women. You're the queens of the internet, right? You are now one of the dominant forces of freedom and democracy, and your leaders. We need them to be having these meetings of, holy shit, those online democracies are kicking our ass up and down everywhere. We've got to figure out how to combat that. That was the purpose of the pro queens, right? We have to take dominion over this. We have to stop playing defense, and we have to make democracy offensive. So in that closing note, when you read any of those articles, if you have a theme or you have something you think we should be focused on or that you really like or didn't like, share it, because I'm not here to tell people what to do or how to say it. I'm here to try and get people who want to participate. That's the goal.
Well, that sounds good to me. I've been thinking about using my thoughts and passion about this and my skills for writing things to combine them and use them somehow on social media to start not just sharing what's already been put out, but basically compiling my own takes on things. And so this could play with that. This could be a part. It could fit together in that way.
Well, Abigail, wait. Let me just ask, Abigail, what do you think about pro queens? Do you think it should be, no, I'm just.
Do you mean using that language? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. See, to me, it's still
I think that there are many ways to interpret that. And so I think if we mean it as go women, then we probably need to use different words, because this could be interpreted many different ways.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is one of the reasons why. So I'm going to tell you this, Abby. You put you and Catherine and Anne and Patricia and Lost. You put 10 of you together, okay? And you guys start constructing a women-led email campaign, okay, on the people that you want to target. And if you guys were to do that, I would bet you that within 2 to 3 weeks, I bet you guys would probably have a minimum 2,500 followers, if not 10,000. And there's a number there where you hit and it's done. The whole thing just busts loose.
So I don't know how to create an email campaign, but if I read the email you sent me, will I then understand it?
Yes.
You'll see it, and I can promise you that Deborah will engage you through email as well.
Okay.
And the point is, our objective is to make it so simple that if you like the body of the email, you copy it, you put your name on it at the top and the bottom, and you've got the email addresses. Now, you always have the latitude of editing it to your personal. You have the latitude of saying, no, I don't like this email. I'm not participating in this particular one. It's like I said in that video, it's their country. It's your thing, right? It's all new. It's all fresh. You guys get to create it and make it what you want. And all I cannot wait for the day that I'm in this meeting and the women are here leading it and they're driving it. And when I start to speak up, they're like, it's okay, Joel, we got it. We don't need you. Right?
I don't want us to be that way. No. I don't want us to disregard anyone.
But but I'll leave you with this, okay?
But if you mean you were instructing us and we say we understand it and we're already on it, in that case, then yes.
And here's the other side of this. This is going to be my little bit of mansplaining to women before you go, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
here's what I named the email campaign. When I talked to Deborah about it, I called it the
Oh, that's right.
WWWA. What? Oh, WWW ACW. The world's warrior women against conservative wankers email campaign.
Yep.
Okay. And
Yep.
and the point there is, you guys need to decide to be badass bitches. Okay. You
Yep.
cannot do all of this. You cannot seize this power and control just being nice.
Yep. And a lot of us have realized that. You don't know how many comments, how many women are like, I am shedding this expected persona and politeness and not to become a mean person, but to say, no, screw being told that I have to be docile. And, you know, yeah, yep, it's there.
That's
It's
right.
all over.
You got it.
Abby, you are the fucking internet. And without you women, they ain't shit. And you are going to have to rub their noses in that a bit. And you're going to have to do some shit that some people don't like. You know, one other nation may say, this is a bit too aggressive for me. And you say, that's fine. Our group voted. We're pissed off. We're going to get aggressive on this one. And you guys have got to understand, you can't create a message that works for everyone. You have to create a message that is designed to achieve an objective, right? And it doesn't, within certain parameters, you just have to achieve the fucking objective. And you need to dominate the internet. You need to make it yours. You need to make sure that the women are one of the most powerful forces on the internet. And anybody else who wants to operate in your pro-democratic world, they have to fucking deal with you. That's where we need to get, because there's a famous quote, the wealthy and powerful never give up power. You have to rip it from their cold, dead hands. And it doesn't have to be dead, but there's a metaphorical killing that takes place on the internet.
Right.
You have to
make them
subdue those
ineffective.
bastards. Absolutely. And you have to be willing to do that with aggression. So thank you so much. What a pleasure to have you here.
I actually want
Go
to
ahead.
talk something which is so I am already connected with Debra on Substack. So I just want to tell both Debra and Abby, if you guys need help with anything like setting up an email campaign or something related to your Substack, any kind of issue, just drop me a message on Substack. So it's called ST Badhon on Substack that's for AB.
STBADON.
Yeah,
STB.
ST space
ADON.
BADHON.
BADHON. Okay.
So you
all right.
Drop a message and I will come back to you as soon as I can, and I will definitely help you out with it.
Perfect. Thank you
Abby,
so much. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
You made the show run long, and I'm so thankful to you for it.
Well, I'm thankful for your passion and to do something, to get something going, and that you feel what it's like. Your finger is on the pulse as well, and it's right there, and I agree with you. And so thank you for all this. It's hard and you're at the beginning, but
yeah. All of those other groups that you talk to, what we say to all of them, I have not found one other Substack, one other group, one other person who's actually proposing a viable, implementable solution. I can go in and find people with 100 times the audience I've got, and they have all of these interactions and likes and exclamation faces and crying faces and puking faces and heads blowing up and all of this shit. but none of them are putting together an email campaign. None of them are describing a viable model where people can have an effect, unless you're the trajectory who just joined in. That's another one of our people who has been here and is actively participating. So thank you so much. Tell them there's a place where people are going to make a fucking difference.
All right, will do.
You.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Thank you for joining.
Okay. Anyone who's here, Deborah, do you have anything you want to throw in before we go into our workout?
I just want to make sure everyone's left their email address for you that's here. So,
hey,
and
trajectory.
that I will be reaching them.
Okay. Anybody here? We're going to our workout group. We're going to talk about our email campaign and trying to get a couple of people that we can put into a preliminary organizational structure. For instance, Anne, if you wanted to join us, or if Martin wants to come in over there, we're doing emails to professors, to county representatives, to influencers, to the Epstein victims' attorneys. We could use some help on individuals who would like to help construct those emails and like to help us get those out. Martin, we are IOD Nations, International Online Democratic Nations.org. We promote online citizen-led democracy. In Taiwan, they have been doing it for 10 years. Here's a link to an article that tells you about what they're doing. You have a magazine, Martin? Martin, do you have a few minutes to come into a workout group with us where you would be able to learn a little bit more and you can actually see we are not here to just talk about things. We're actually trying to get people working on them. Is there any way, because I don't want to take everybody here through the same explanation. Any chance you might be interested in at least a preliminary? If you shoot us an email, we will send you a Zoom link and we're going to be in there within 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes talking about this. And I would like to talk to you about your magazine, and I think we can blow your mind. I really do. That lady right there, 3-time assemblywoman, state of New York, and she likes what we're doing. And we've got other people who are starting to get interested. So can you share your email before we close this call out? Hey, Ashfaq, have you gotten a comment of all the chat and everything that we're doing? Or Draco, sorry.
Yeah, so I actually joined in a bit late, so I don't have all the chat with me, but I'm guessing Draco is taking a copy. If not, we'll get whatever I have.
Yes, I do. So
all right,
no worries.
great.
Okay. Deborah, do you recognize Martin? He thinks he follows you on Substack.
I don't know what's his
Martin D. Vasquez.
Oh yes, I do remember. Yes.
All right.
There we go.
All
right.
Email address.
Right here, Lorraine. Give us your email. We will send you a link within 10 to 15 minutes. Medium output. I'm going to go look at it while we're waiting. Lorraine, come in and join us.
Right. I remember. Yes.
Yeah.
MO.
Lorraine, drop in your email address so that we can send you the invite to our group call.
Anyone else, if you want to get invited, we're going to close this out in just a minute. Just put your email in there, Lorraine. We're waiting for you and anyone else. After yours, if no one else has done it, we're going to end this call. Thank you to everybody who's been here. IOD Nations, iodnations.org. We do a live chat, typically Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 o'clock p.m. or 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are the only place that you will go that lays out an actual plan that you can participate in to promote online citizen-led democracy and take our governance back and put the pro-democracy citizens in charge. Okay, Lorraine, you can listen and cook. All right, everybody, we're going to close this call. You should get any... Kylie, shoot it. Oh my God, if we could get Don Lemon. Kylie, I apologize. I know you're coming in here. We're ending this call, but we're going into an working group. If you want to come in and learn a little bit or possibly participate, we're working on an email campaign promoting online citizen-led democracy. I don't have any more time now. I'm keeping people waiting here. If you want to share an email, do it really quick. If you come in and you don't like what you're listening to, you can just jet out, or you can decide to wait until a later date. We totally get it. But we're going to count down from 10. If you want to leave an email, 10, 9, 8, 7.
Okay, you'll give them some time. Let me show them a video, okay?
That's a great idea, man. Show people.
Oh, Draco's going to share a video. Show us a video, Draco. What do you got for entertainment today?
All right. Let's let's our peanut song.
No. 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 No.
Let's do it, man.
No. 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 I'm not doing that. Please don't. I don't have I would do that with Deborah in a heartbeat, but I don't want to do that with other people.
Well,
show us.
Yeah.
Wait. Show us the military show. Oh, Draco, show them the one I did where I was promoting using stink in Minneapolis, where we imitated a bunch of news reporters from Minnesota. Pull that one up. So
All right.
what I was promoting was that protesters should be using stink as a nonviolent way of protest. And so we made up some news clips, how news reporters might cover that if it was happening. And it's really viable, and it's also kind of funny. Do you have it, Draco?
Yep.
All right, show us
that.
what you got, Draco, and then we're going to close this out.
All right. So I'm playing it.
Oh, this was... Deborah, you have no idea some of the crazy shit we have in the archives.
Oh, I was looking. I went through everything. Yeah, I
Did
saw
you?
some crazy
Minnesota.
stuff. I did.
Tonight's
Okay, I'm ready.
Go for it.
most aromatic update. Good evening, Minnesota. In tonight's most aromatic update, the mysterious group known only as the Stink Troopers has been making waves and smells across the Twin Cities.
That's right, Gia. Residents across Minneapolis report a scent being called Agent Orange, wafting from ICE agents everywhere. One protester described the aroma this way: it smells like a combination of rotting sardines, decaying Greenland walrus penis, and the stench of Nazi everywhere they go. A local pastor said, An ICE agent walked into our church, and the stench was so bad that tears began dripping from the eyes of Jesus on every crucifix in the building.
Everyone seems to be discussing the stench all across our amazing city. And then someone said, let's share it with the assholes who voted for and are doing this to us. Let's make that the news story.
I spoke to 2 tourists from Denmark and a crazy bastard from the Netherlands. They told me that after watching Scott Bessent in Davos claim that the EU had no economic cards to play, they were going to pick the most influential city in the most conservative state in the USA and assault them for a month at every public event, every major employer, and throughout that whole city. I cannot confirm or deny, but people are saying that the whole world is about to unleash what they call a stink tsunami upon the city of Dallas and decimate it economically by turning it into a cesspool of Nazi stench.
I thought reactions might be mixed, but people are strangely positive. People across Minnesota are cheering these stink troopers as if they're the world's weirdest heroes, all because they feel that pro-democracy citizens from all across the world finally have a peaceful, nonviolent, yet highly effective way to fight back against the GOP-led advancement of Nazi ideals across the world.
Well, I can't officially endorse drone use and stench balloon, super soaker, or dry crystalline Agent Orange use upon anyone. I will say this. We Minnesotans are like Canadians and Danes. Do not mistake our polite, welcoming personalities as weak. We are far from it. If anyone, anywhere in the world wants to send in a bunch of untrained, unscreened, convicted assaulters of America and over 1,000 law enforcement officers, including those maimed and killed, we will fight back in the most offensive, disgusting, and non-violent ways that you could ever imagine.
More breaking news, folks. It appears we have uncovered a recent news report from Ukraine, which explains where this new method of non-violent asymmetric warfare was created by a group of women who call themselves the badass bitches of Ukraine. Here is a clip from that news report broken by the military show and Konstantin of Inside Russia fame. And let me just say, I believe that this story is going to have a hang time longer than Agent Orange or an elephant's fart.
Breaking news from the SBU's Alpha Special Operations Center, who together with the Ukrainian Women's Forces Unit, known as Ukraine's Badass Bitches, have just announced Operation Stink Rocket. Led by the women of Ukraine and based upon these quotes by the world's greatest military mind ever, Sun Tzu, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Opportunities seized, multiply. General Syrski went on to explain, this small group of women realized that if Ukrainians united online to found the world's first ever international online democratic citizen-led nation, the rest of the world's pro-freedom and democracy citizens would join them. President Volodymyr Democracy said,
"We are asking every Ukraine citizen in the world to send an email to NATO immediately. The email I urge every Ukrainian in the world to send should say, Dear NATO, I officially request citizenship in the IOD Ukraine nation."
And wait, more breaking news here. It appears that Texas Senate candidate Jasmine Crockett, the new face of the Democratic Party, has issued a demand to the GOP leaders in Texas. It states,
"We, the citizens of Texas, demand that the GOP in Washington, D.C., 1, return all funding to ICE back to 2023 levels. 2, remove ICE and all federal law enforcement from states and back to 2023 duties. 3, terminate all those hired since Jan 1, 2024, make their employment status public, and provide any and all information and evidence requested by local law enforcement. And 4, the GOP must choose their top official, their chosen leader, and issue a public apology asking for forgiveness for participation in unleashing Nazi-affiliated and GOP-supported criminals upon American cities and the world. I'm asking the stink troops around the world for a minimum of 15 days.
Crockett asked the stink troops of the world to grant Texas 15 days minimum to achieve these results before considering a stink tsunami event. She concluded by sharing this video.
How about this new one they have, their new star, Crockett? How about her?
She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble.
But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man. Oh, man. She's a very low IQ person.
Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding.
Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
People have been telling us what we can't do our whole lives. They say we can't turn out the vote. In Texas, we refer to those types as all hat and no cojones. I am going to unite the pro-democracy citizens of Texas online before the election. I will create a new way for Texans to unite online and help lead and govern this great state. My name is Jasmine Crockett. Don't vote for me unless I earn your vote before the election. Donald Bone Spurs Trump is yellow like mustard, but without the bite. Oh, I have a special message for Greg Abbott. I don't care if you are in a wheelchair or not. You are so crooked, you could swallow nails and spit out corkscrews. Y'all best buddy your butthole and call me a biscuit. There's a new sheriff in town.
After
Okay,
speaking with
that's
world
good,
leaders
Draco.
from Denmark, Greenland, and the EU, and President Vladimir Democracy, we all have a message for the GOP-led states who are empowering
Draco, let's end it.
across the world.
All right.
You may not think.
Okay. All right. So, Deborah, we'll talk about that and see if that was too much for you. It looks like it was. I scared you away. All right. We're going, guys. If you get an email, join us in the workout call. We're going to put together some emails. Draco, you want to close this out?
Yeah, so Deborah left this call?
Yeah, I think I scared her away with that.
Okay. So let's hang up from here, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Goodbye, people.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Offensive.
Monday,
Make
11
democracy
o'clock.
offensive.
Make democracy offensive, not anonymous.
Let's unite online. All right.